Hey guys, Adam here, and chances are if you're watching this, you know that I've got a neglected M48 Yugo Mauser here, and we're going to make a quick video here just to go over how to clean up all this rust that builds up. Rifle season just finished up, and I just so happened to take this one out a couple days, and it must have caught some of the wet, so anyway, let's get into it. So anytime you're taking apart one of these Mausers, you want to start from the nose back. So that means we've got to get this barrel bend off. But before we can do that, we've got to take the sight shroud off. So typically what I like to do is I just use a rubber mallet. It's not the best way to do it, but you figure these guns were designed to be taken apart in the field. It's not going to hurt them to do it once or twice, just like they would. So barrel band off. And it doesn't seem to be directional in all the times I've taken it apart. There's no right or wrong way. It's just tapered. So once you have that off, I always like to use an 8mm Mauser case. You've got one dimple here, right there. And that's what's holding that front band on. So what you've got to do is you've got to get that depressed enough so that you can get it off. Now, I've taken a case and driven it down in like this to get it out. I've also taken a brass punch here and knocked it out. Sometimes you have to knock it in a little bit. This one seems to be nice and free. And sometimes you just take your rubber mallet or your nylon mallet and you just tap and it'll bust it free. Once you get that free, looks like this one might just use the brass here. I might just be lucky enough to get it to wiggle off there, just like that. So that's your goal. Your goal is to get it pushed off of there. Now, note, this is under spring pressure. So when you're wiggling this off, you really want to have something wrapped around it. It's not going to come flying off and go soaring across the world, but you still want to just grab a hold of it. It's like that. Ready? Watch. That spring slides right out. Set it with all the rest of your parts, as well as your barrel band. Just leave it lay there for now. Or if you want to be really smart, you go over 9,000 IQ. Get this cleaning rod out of here, and then that barrel band will come right off. Just like that. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Good. I knew that it didn't get a whole lot of moisture, but when I pulled it out of the safe and I seen this blooming here, I about threw up. Because although these aren't an expensive rifle, you still don't want to go and let things get destroyed. So, okay, anyway, next thing that we got to do, we want to take this screw out here. We get that screw out, we get this band slid up and off, and then this upper handguard is going to pop up, twist, come right off of that sight. Just like that. I'll show you. This front barrel band is not held on with anything, not held on under spring pressure or anything. It should slide off easily. If it doesn't, give it a light tap. It just comes right off, just like the other one. Like I said, what we're going to do, flip the sight up. We're going to wiggle. There's a band that runs across the barrel here. And then this one is held, the front is held on by this sling band and the front barrel band. So we've just got to get it we just got to get it moving. Just be gentle. You don't want to go snapping anything. Just want to get it moving. You can see it's starting to lift. but it's still held with that one C-clip right here. So we just want to wiggle, wiggle, pops right up off, rotate. Oh, sorry camera, comes right up off, just like that. Like I said, no screws, nothing like that. It actually looks pretty decent underneath. You can see some where the barrel bands were starting to bloom a little bit, just where the moisture got in. Anyway, bolt out. Should have did that first, yeah? Oh well. Okay, next thing to do, like many Mausers, it's got 2 lock screws, one here, one underneath the trigger here, facing this way. All you have to do is rotate them so that the main action bolts can be screwed out. Like that. Let's see if we can get this one. It really doesn't want to show up on camera, does it? Just like that. And once you have that, you can go ahead and put your action screws up out. Keep a good firm hold on this. You really don't want to put a lot of strain on that stock while you're taking these action screws out. Once you do that, trigger group should lift right up out. This seems a little swollen. We could probably drop the action out first. I really don't want to rip the end grain on this stock. Let's go ahead and see if this action will drop out. Beautiful. Okay. Drop the action down out. Then we ought to be able to just take our thumb, gently press and pull. Press and pull. Yellow. There we go. Okay. So we'll take care of the stock later. I'm just going to wax it. And maybe clean up down in here. Okay. Stock can go back here. But basically, when you get blooming like this, we're just going to cut to the chase. When you get this kind of rust blooming, all you have to do to make it stop. Now this isn't your end result, but to make it stop, you just get yourself some 4/0 steel wool and you just lightly rub it down. Gently. I don't believe that 4/0 is coarse enough to wipe the bluing away, except for maybe in some of the edged areas. Anytime I've ever done any kind of rust bluing, I haven't had any trouble with 4/0, but I still like to be careful. There's no sense in rushing something like this. There's no sense in overdoing it. But you can see that it's already coming back to a polished finish. And the finish that they used on these guns was beautiful anyway, so. Okay, so camera just died. Not really died. It overheated on me. 20 minutes of video is a lot. 1080p 60, I guess, but... So, I shut the camera off and went in and got the kids some ice cream. It's only 10:30 on a Friday, so... Typically what I would do here is I would use a non-detergent, like straight 40 weight automotive oil on this. But I spent some time before I started recording looking around. I didn't find any. So this isn't ideal. I don't recommend doing this. If you can find any number of ways or any number of different types of oil, so long as it's non-detergent, I would use any one of those. But WD-40 is going to be good enough to seal it for now until I can get it in the conversion pot this spring. So what you want to do after you get to this point, you want to get a good rag. Let me see if I can pause this. You're just going to want to get a rag. You really don't want to get any inside the mag here, but a little bit is all you need. I usually take one finger inside the rag. Now that we're at the next step, let me see, just standard carnauba wax. I like to just take it, and you get a protective layer on the stock. I like to do it whenever the stock's apart, that way you don't get big clumps of wax all throughout it where you can't clean it out of except with a toothpick. Nobody needs that kind of stress in their life. Take your rag. Now you could use wax on all your steel parts as well, but topic for another day. Beautiful. Beautiful. I know I've only got a couple minutes left before it starts overheating again. Okay. So let's start the reassembly now. Okay, first things first. Let's get ourselves a place to work here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get the action into the stock. Just take it Line up your trigger. Should drop right down in. Nice and easy. Beautiful. I like to put the sight down for now. Lay it right down on top of the action. Grab your trigger guard and your magazine. Get it lined up. Drop it right down on. Just like that. You shouldn't have to force anything with these guns. Take your action screw. That's the wrong one. Hello. Long one in the back, short one in the front. Take them. Run the screw backwards until you hear the click. Once you hear the click, you know that the first thread's lined up. We're not going to run that one in all the way until we get this one started. Run it backwards until you hear the click. Run it forwards. Now, these are funny because they have locking screws. If you decide to try to go for that next one, you're going to put yourself in a world of pain. So just don't overdo it. Lock it down. I know you can't see this one in the back, but same idea. Lock it down. And your action's in the stock. Beautiful. Next thing, flip your sight up. Drop your upper hand guard down on. Now, it's easier to do this if you're not recording, but I just pinched myself. Beautiful. I'm going to take this retention screw for the upper hand guard. Start it by hand. Every screw, start by hand. You shouldn't have to force anything. Beautiful. Oh, nope. This one. Up onto the end of the muzzle. Slide right up on. Slight retention, that's good. This spring, remember, it's got the little button on the end that goes towards the muzzle. Take this, slide it right down underneath that. You're going to want to hold it with your hand so it doesn't come flying out. Hole goes towards the button. Depress. Give it a nice pull. Take your rubber mallet. Beautiful. Beautiful. And we can take our cleaning rod. Should slide right down in. And final bit. Now, if you're like me and you've got bare hands, you should be able to get this started with no problem. Just got to get it into the groove. Like that. And if it's 10 degrees outside, tapped up on. And just like that, we've got a clean, not rusting apart Mauser M48. Hello, come here. flip your ass around. Hang on. Just like that. Beautiful. And there you have it, guys. Beautiful example of an M48 Mauser that we slowed the inevitability of time on for another day. I really appreciate you watching if you made it this far. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. I'm going to be posting stuff like this all the time. Like I said, I love working on firearms. I love these old ones especially, but I get into pretty much anything. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Have a good day.